There we go.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, yeah, that picture that first one I circulate was taken right here
Okay.
at the end, and that's the section here that Descon move all the material into the neighbors.
Okay.
So, and the second picture you see is the road over here that I had was way below. And it's showing here that the road was measured to 60 feet, and the road allowance and the road on Eric Street from here to there that I was crossed was all stripped to be filled up to the grade, whatever the material is. So, and right now what I found, and my engineer, when he came, and I'll take out this map and show you in a minute, that the ditch in here was not done by Descon, so the water can go down. And I'll circulate another picture right now that when I did the ditching on this side, this is the pictures of the material that came out of the ditch, and it's under that road. So these are the pictures that I took, and I trenched it, and I did the ditching, and that's why I send the invoice, because the property belongs to the municipality, and we send it to Descon too, because that's all extra work that I had to remove all them stones and everything. It's 10 load of gravel, and we had to rearrange the culvert. So.
And Jules, when you say this portion of the road, who put the materials in?
Descon put the material. They pushed all the material from their development here on phase 2 over the road and to the neighbors. So they didn't do no ditching here for my water to go down towards Gagnon Street.
In the subdivision agreement, which way is the water supposed to flow?
Well, okay, I'll show you the big map.
Because I see you have a culvert, cross culvert there already.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, the culvert had to be amended.
yeah,
It
actually,
was me that did the site visit. It was Bill Bryant. And he found a way he adjusted his engineering work so that the water could flow properly without having to redo all the,
Was that in the subdivision agreement?
yeah,
well, the subdivision agreement includes, doesn't have anything about the seniors home.
Right.
That portion of the road is part of the subdivision agreement.
Yeah.
But that portion of road was not
okay.
done by us because it was already done by Descon, and we didn't supervise the work. We can't
That-
attest to anything.
That's the map that was
done there.
approved by my engineer and Antoine, okay? Give me, Alicia, can you just get you to hold the thing? Thank you. And as you see, the section of the road of Eric Street, okay? Up here, the culvert was supposed to be way down over here. Okay, but because of the seniors home that's built and they didn't ditch, all the ditching was supposed to go down to Gagnon Street. Okay, so we weren't gonna re-ditch the side of the seniors home. So Bill compromised and he did the extra work, and we placed a culvert over here to accommodate the seniors home. And this is where I had to re-ditch on this side to make sure the water goes down to Gagnon Street.
Weren't you responsible to ditch that regardless if the water was heading that way in your subdivision agreement?
Ditch here?
Yeah, like
Yeah, I was
to get the
supposed-
water to
yeah.
flow?
But as you see in the picture, there was no fill here. That was all field. That I just had to take the turf out. But now, because of this done, all the material, I had to re-ditch over 3 feet and all them stones. And I took 10 loads of material from the ditch and from here to here to put the ditch at the proper elevation for the water to drain down over here. So before, there was no work involved. It was just a field and it was just a turning circle here. And they removed the turning circle and they just pushed all the dirt to the neighbors. They had permission, but they were filling in all the road portion up over 3 feet high with their material and stone, clay, and all the material. So this is why my engineer, because that work was done without his authorization, his supervision. That's why, yeah, and when I checked on it, that to stop DESCON, I did not own the property. The whole road is registered to the municipality. The road gets registered to the municipality when the plan of subdivision is registered. So that's why the road is in the municipal name, but I had to bring it up to a municipal standard, and I was aware. But they never followed the protocol of the spec of the engineer here.
I mean, I guess that would be a you and a DESCON thing.
Yeah, what conversations have you had with DESCON about that?
All I did, we had a discussion with DESCON in July, when I showed them that pictures that they were flooding my property. They said, just raise your ditches, and they didn't want to. So I couldn't go no more farther with DESCON because I do not own the property. The township does, and the township should supervise DESCON, whatever they're doing.
So, Jules, before you put that away.
Yeah.
So the subdivision agreement was registered for that portion of the road.
Yeah. the whole
And that
road.
road, that road would be transferred to the township of Bonfield?
Yeah.
Or it was transferred at that time? And when would the municipality assume it?
What?
Is there, other than the subdivision agreement, is there any other registration against your property with respect to the township of Bonfield for that road?
No, when the plan was registered, because this on the plan was indicated as a road, the road automatically gets registered to the township, automatically. And the municipality can do the road. So when I did the construction of the road, build the road, I had insurance, but I don't carry the insurance on it no more. And
If I could just take a second to add to, on that, because there was a question of, we met with Tulik Engineering and also with DESCON on the 25th of October. And all parties agreed, and I sent an email to the municipality to give a summary of that meeting. And all parties agreed that the work wasn't done to the standard in the Bryco drawings, but so that we thought that the property belonged to Jules at that point, and that's why we were meeting with DESCON. But then we were informed that the property actually doesn't belong to Jules, it's the municipality. So when we emailed the municipality, we informed them of that meeting, and that, you know, Jules, it was hindering his, well, I'll just read. Bryco amended the drainage plan to reduce the amount of remediation required, and the developer would not complete the corrective work. It also stated that the compensation would be sought for the remediation work, as well as for the non-authorized use of Bryco drawings. So Bryco Engineering was going to go after, or like just work with DESCON, because they didn't use the engineering drawings, and they were using our drawings without authorization. But that's between Bryco and DESCON. But the work that was done on the property is between Jules and the municipality, and that was sent on the 25th of October to advise the municipality that work needed to be done, and that a compensation would be sought.
Yeah, from DESCON.
From us, Bryco, to the municipality.
You want compensation from the municipality for that?
Yes,
Based on,
because the municipality authorized the work of DESCON.
under what agreement though? Like, so I'm not trying to influence, I'm trying to
Well, like,
understand.
we didn't
So,
authorize that work. That work
Right.
was authorized by, we're assuming the municipality authorized and approved that work that was done by DESCON.
I mean, you're assuming that, did we authorize the work?
The consent for the seniors agreement came through in 21, 22, kind of all around the same time. So we did have site meetings with Tulloch and Descon about the road that was in there. And so, yes, we were aware there was work being done. I believe Mr. Gagne gave the drawings from Bryco to Descon in order to do that road work.
Just to be clear,
No.
that's not
So-
authorizing
I'll have
that
to
they can
correct,
use the drawings. They
Nikki.
can.
I did not, I was talking to John Demers,
Mhm.
and he came in home and he asked me, Jules, can we use the drawings so we can know the elevation where the building going? I never give them the authorization to build the road.
Well, no, because the road's owned by the township. So we gave authorization
Yeah,
for them to
but-
build the road. They had to build the road in order to get a building permit for the seniors. So yes, we gave them authorization to build that road up. The township has still not assumed that portion of the road either. It is still an unassumed road.
Yeah, the whole road is not assumed.
No,
But
none
the
of it.
municipality been maintaining it.
Well, we have to maintain it for the one property, so we have to maintain
Well-
that piece. So we have to continue to maintain, but we have not assumed it and it's not a municipal, past that one section, it is not municipally maintained.
Has anyone
No.
inspected that portion of the road or was supervising the building, the construction of that road?
Yes, our public works manager was.
Okay,
And
so
we
you-
had some staffing turnover in there, but the Tulloch Construction also gave us all the material list and how they built it and everything else.
For both phases or just phase one?
I'd have to go back to look in the documents. Yeah. Because they gave us a package of materials
Yeah, but,
So.
and then that
we
went to
don't-
our engineer.
Yeah.
but
But we advised that that work needed to be done for Jules to be able to continue his phase two, because you could see in the photos that he couldn't continue work.
The
But
municipal, I wasn't at that meeting, so I don't know what was said back and forth. I do remember your email, so.
But phase two shouldn't even have happened yet because, it was only supposed to be phase one that was done, not phase two at the
phase
same
one,
time.
yeah, but I could do the phase two.
No, because you didn't put your deposit on the phase
I
two.
didn't have, the deposit is only needed in there if the lots would have been sold and if the lots.
No,
And-
you
and-
needed the deposit for phase two when you started construction.
Not really.
Well,
No,
that's what the subdivision
because-
agreement says.
Yeah, well,
but-
we met with the ground super and at phase one, and we asked if there, like, and I sent an email. I'm just going through here. I apologize. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this meeting, so I don't have it all at my
Yeah.
fingertips. But the summary of all the correspondence was provided at that last council meeting in November. But we met with the ground super and asked, okay,
Is the ground super?
so on 7th
Alexis.
September, I sent an email to Nikki Kunkel. Email request plan to resolve Eric Street drainage issues caused by DESCON, including timelines in order to determine how it would affect the subdivision. Email refers to site meetings with Alex Hackenbrook, Public Works Manager, on 25 July and 16 August 2024, where concerns were raised about the drainage at Eric Street and that progress of the subdivision project would be negatively affected if it was not dealt with by the municipality. And then on 10th of September, received an email apologizing for delayed response and that a response would be sent once there was more time to review. After 4 weeks, I sent another email to the CAO requesting an update on the drainage issue at Eric Street Extension because it is affecting the progress of the subdivision. Email informs of 4 October meeting with Alex Hackenbrook, who gave authorization to complete the top A gravel on the Laurier portion of the road. So that would be the
Phase
completion
one.
of phase one. States that it is expected that the Laurier portion of the road would be completed within the following 2 weeks. So that was in October. 7 October, email from Nikki Kunkel to me. Email states that DESCON informed her that they still have to clean up the ditches and add the final layer of Gran A to the road prior to the top surface being completed. But it doesn't seem that that work has ever been done, although I didn't inspect it. On the 27th of October, I sent an email to municipal staff. Email describes 25 October meeting with representatives from Bryco Engineering, and this is the meeting that we had with Tulip and Descon and Tulip, that I spoke to earlier.
But where in there does it give, say you have permission to do phase two?
Yeah, even if I wouldn't have given a deposit on phase one, okay? I would have been able to do the road, all the road, okay? Because the only thing, the deposit is there if the lots are sold and the road is not built, then the municipality got the money there to build the road to accommodate the people living there. And that's the way it was explained to me by the consultant and the engineer, that the deposit is only there if the road is not built and the people are getting building permit and they own the land.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you can't get a building permit if the road isn't in, right?
Correct.
Yes,
So-
you can get, because it's a subdivision, you can get a building permit and the lot can be sold.
I think you can only sell the lot, but you can't get a building permit.
Yeah,
Yes, the people can build, but they cannot get occupancy.
I don't think so. Let's
No,
clarify.
We would not issue a building permit on a road that was not municipally maintained. Your agreement also says that the road has to be built up to the standard, has to be approved, and you have to have the hydro in. Each lot has to have serviced hydro before a
Yeah,
building permit
okay.
can be issued.
Where did you read that I can't get a building permit in my subdivision?
Yeah, that's exactly why I pushed for this meeting a little bit, was just so that we can kind of clarify all these little things, right? So if it takes a little bit of time to look stuff up and things like that, let's do that. So that everybody leaves with a clearer head and greater understanding of what's going on.
Section 22-1. Requirement for occupancy. No occupancy until the certification of compliance. We're talking about occupancy, not building permit or not.
but
Yes.
doesn't our, like even our official plan, I think, says you can't build on an unmaintained road. So
The
you would
official
never,
plan does not combine sometime with a subdivision agreement.
Yeah, we kind of got to go by whatever's in our
And-
contract. right?
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So it says here, no building erected on the lot or block within the plan of subdivision shall be occupied until the hydroelectricity construction and street light have been installed and approved by the township. That's occupancy.
Okay.
Okay? And it carries on, an on-site sewage system is to be installed and satisfied to the Ministry of Environment. Okay? A certification has been prepared by the engineer confirming that the building and structure meets all the building codes and everything.
Okay.
But it all becomes to the occupants. We can sell the lot and people can get building permit. And if the road is not built, then the municipality use the letter of credit and the deposit to build the road and put the street light.
No, but you're saying we wouldn't have a deposit.
You do have it.
No,
We
no,
have-
no,
We
but
You have it.
Just to
But-
speak to, sorry, if I could just.
Yeah,
So phase one was almost complete. We had the meeting with the road super and said that, we want to continue, that the drainage was the main issue, and it took over a month to and this is in the fall before frost comes. So there's nothing as far as I know, that for Jules to continue his work without getting authorization from the phase one, we thought that it wouldn't take that long to occur. But he managed to have enough time to finish all of phase two before we were discussing the authorization of phase one.
But phase one was never completed.
Phase one was completed.
No, because
It's
you had a
just-
meeting with you and Antoine, that it shows
Antoine, as
that,
far as I know, has not come out to the road except for once when we met
It was
with the
totally-
mayor.
and he gave you a list of deficiencies,
Yeah, okay.
and that were never addressed.
We're gonna go into that after,
That's false.
but I just wanted to explain this section here,
Sure.
okay?
Yep.
Can I do one
Yes.
question? One will be two questions. So the subdivision has been registered, and there's nothing required to transfer that road to the municipality. When does the municipality assume it? And did we assume it prematurely? Or have we not assumed it, Nikki?
We haven't assumed.
We have not assumed it. So we would
So how
assume it.
does that make us, how does that put the liability on the municipality for a road that goes through a subdivision where there are no occupants and the road goes to lot 3 of your property, right? Or your
Yeah,
house?
the road goes right through.
Because we own the road.
Only
So we
because
own the-
we own the
We
road.
own it and it is not built and people are driving on it. So that's where the liability comes in. So I just want to go back to clean, and I'm looking for a section in the agreement. So if you guys can help out, that's great. So when it comes to the no occupancy about the certificate, so this is a subdivision agreement. When we look at whether or not we give out, we issue building permits, we have to still look at our official plan and zoning. So yes, we wouldn't give occupancy because this is what it says, but we're still looking at our official plan and our zoning to say, can you issue a house permit? Because this would be for a house or for a garage, but for a house. So we wouldn't issue a permit unless it was on a municipally maintained road, or they had deeded access to a road, or it was a private road and they had deeded access. So that's the only way that we would be able to still meet all of our other requirements. And I'm sure that there's a section in here that says that all other conditions of the official plan have to be met, because it's still our planning policies, it's our document. So that applies overreaching to everything. But you're right, occupancy would not be given until the hydro was given to all of
Yeah, and
these.
So Nikki, I just want to, the part 2, phase 2 of the seniors is on a part of the road that has not been assumed by the municipality, but it is being maintained by the municipality. Although
We're
it hasn't
not-
been approved,
we're
like,
not-
I don't understand how occupancy has been given at the seniors
Because
development.
they can go out the other
They can go
driveway.
in the other driveway
Oh, okay.
on the
Yeah.
assumed portion.
But
They have
But the road is
two-
being
it is-
maintained on the phase 2 portion as well.
Because we have to do a turnaround for the other property owner anyway. So we still have to do like some maintenance so that we're meeting the needs for the other property owner.
the other property, that was the other severance.
On the other side.
Or
of
the other
road.
side of the road,
On the other
other
side.
Why,
of the road.
why do you have to accommodate him?
because he has a
He has a
driveway.
house and he has a
Yeah,
driveway.
but his entrance is down here on the municipal maintained road, not up to here.
No, maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe his
Yeah.
driveway comes in
No.
off of Eric Street.
I don't, I know
No.
the driveway's off of Eric Street for sure. I don't know
Yeah,
where that.
his driveway's down there.
What's his his civic address, is it on Eric or is it on?
It's on Eric.
So his driveway's there.
That property
Yeah,
has no
it's not-
frontage on Ganya.
On the original
got-
portion of the road.
No,
not
it's on the
subdivision.
original first portion of the 200 feet. I know I used to own the property
I know.
and I put the driveway there. But this section, you didn't have to accommodate him. Because he
Okay, I
hasn't
can
got a
look into that.
severance.
Yeah.
And there's a severance that was granted
Mhm.
for that section here,
Mhm.
okay? And it's not on the maintained road in the municipality,
But they still have access through the other
Through
property.
the other.
but then that way you should be closing the road down to here. Non-maintaining. And you shouldn't be maintaining this.
It's our road, so we'll close it where we want.
Well,
And that's, we do
and
have
that
an
way you're
agreement.
doing preference to this guy and preference to this other landowner. And I get no preference because I'm doing some
How are we
development.
giving preference over here?
Well, I don't know if you guys,
We own that.
did you assume Laurier Street?
Didn't we look into this already?
We did look into this, we did.
We do own it.
I know
Yes,
you
we
do
do
own
own
it,
it.
the same as you
But we
own
don't-
this.
Yeah, but that is assumed, the first little bit is assumed by the township, not the rest of it.
Yeah, but this is not assumed by the township, but you're giving this guy the right to build on this severance
There,
and brought the hydro on that road portion.
we can't speak to Descon and what we have, but we have agreements with them and they have agreed that they are still going to be responsible for that road. But
Well,
that's not
why not-
relevant to
why
your
don't you clear
subdivision
me
in this
from the road?
regard.
Why don't you clear me and my engineer from the road.
Okay, so let's cut to the chase. Is that what we're asking? Is if the municipality cut a line somewhere, assumed a part of that road, I'm not convinced that it's our $10,000 bill to pay. So if that's a sticking point for you, we're probably at a standstill. But if the municipality was to assume that part of, just that chunk of the road up to the second driveway of the seniors complex.
And I would like to see the engineers.
Like I'm trying to,
budget.
yeah, I'm just trying to work with like all of the
Okay.
messiness. If that was something that this council decided to do, that alleviates that piece of that concern from you?
That would eliminate the concern from my engineer, then we can work on the rest. Because that's all part of phase 2.
Okay,
But we have communicated that, in your email that you gave, when you said that all the final, and you were signing off on everything, it does say that you will not take responsibility for that road. And we did issue back a statement saying it's not your responsibility. You
Well,
don't have to
no, I
sign
don't,
off on
I
that
don't have
piece.
that. I don't have that.
Look for that.
I don't have it.
so if we're just trying to clean up a mess, if that's if that's the purpose of being here tonight. And Jules, if we're trying to work with you, because I believe we're all sitting here in good faith, trying to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah, and
From the second driveway of the
the
subdivision,
end of their property,
cut it off there. If we assume that portion of the road.
okay.
And listen, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't talked to anybody. I'm just spitballing. I'm trying to find,
I would confirm with your engineer that the engineer is okay with that too, just.
oh, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
there's questions, but I'm
It's still a
just trying to
process.
come up with
Okay. Yeah, that's
potential
what-
things to look into following this meeting.
Yeah, okay. I would be okay. I would clear my engineer that he doesn't have to sign off on that section.
Okay.
The way the road was built, okay?
Okay.
And, okay, when Antoine was out, I'll explain you a little bit. Antoine was out, and all he did is a little inspection here, was raining that day and everything. When we did the road for the engineer, my engineer was there supervising, we took the tape and we centered the road and we measured that the legal dimension. Okay, Antoine just went out from here to there. He could have hit a bad spot, okay, that I need a little bit more big gravel or whatever. But it's not the whole road that's condemned. And that should be clarified by your engineer. Your engineer should come out and plot the center of the road, do his measurement on both sides, and tell us what he's not happy with.
I think he did, and it wasn't just Eric Street. Laurier Street had issues, not wide enough. And
No, we never, no, the way Antoine let us say, there was not, and he classified the whole road, but he never came out and did the inspection and measured the 66 feet and look at the width of the road for the gravel. So,
Antoine did send an email, and I believe you
We
guys
sent an
met.
email,
Yeah,
and
you-
as far as I
asked
know,
for
the
a
only
list.
time that he was on the property when I was there was that day that the mayor was there as well.
and everybody was
We
there.
had, and he took out a wheel measurer, which isn't as accurate as a tape, you know, for the distance and for the, but anyways, and it was in certain portions on the road, and it was on the Eric Road side. So we haven't received anything from the engineer.
No.
And as far as I know, a complete inspection hasn't.
Have you
been
seen the
done.
letter from Antoine?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the way he's indicating on the road, okay, is, to me, he just did one inspection over here. The rest of the road, we got the spec with the center and the elevation on the side of the road up to the ditch, and it was wide enough. So
And we did
Antoine should do
respond
a
to his
proper
email.
inspection and indicate where is all the faults that he cannot take the road under, because we know we're wide enough. Not only one little section with his wheel, did he account it for the grade, for the crown and everything, and the road goes a little farther to the ditch. So, but I know there's a good travel portion. I work in the old school, okay, I'm in feet, okay?
So am
And
I.
that's why when it gets to metric, I get a little bit confused, but I know the road portion of travel of the paving is 20 feet wide plus 4 feet of shoulders. So that's why we measured 28 feet all along. And it could have been a little section that when I got the grader to come out, he didn't put it. So anyway,
And I did respond to Antoine saying that he mentioned two deficiencies. One was the width of the road at the point that he measured. It was 1.2 meters, I think, so about 4 feet, under 4 feet. And I mentioned that could be remediated at the final grading, like when the A and the pavement is being put on. It's pretty, it's not huge deficiency. And also he mentioned about the ditching, which had been remediated. Jules had put some.
That letter you have from Antoine, I believe it was like $140,000 of deficiencies.
Well,
no, yeah, and that's correct. And you guys, that's what I was saying. Like, I don't have your money to fix all the deficiency at the present time, but you guys got the money and that was accounting for the whole road.
But you're supposed, okay, two
and
things.
I
Two-
didn't
two
reverse the
things.
math on his calculations, so that number, I don't know, I didn't take the time to redo his math, but it's possible he used that deficiency the whole length of the road where it only exists in one or two spots, because we don't know that he has inspected the entire
So,
road. So
yeah.
that number, I'm,
So for clarification, if he just measured it in one or two spots and said, well, it's 4 feet short, and then it's gonna cost this amount of money to do the whole road. But if most of the road is wide enough and it was only a couple failed spots that is
If we're
shorter.
trying to cut beyond the noise and the back and forth that has been in 30 years of history and using a wheel versus a tape measure, and listen, I can tell you from the seat I'm sitting in here, there's nothing uber complicated about this.
no.
So I'm like, okay, so if we can figure out what to do with that portion of Eric Street, if that's something that we can figure a path forward for, and I think we've talked out potentially of options for us to go forth and explore.
Mhm.
If our engineer goes out and actually says, look you're deficient here, 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 and here, and I need proof of sub-base because I don't think anybody can sign off
building
on what was
materials.
there on the building materials. If we give you that list, I
That
don't
wasn't
think
required in the, like, that wasn't something that we foresaw like, I supervised all the work, I saw the materials going in, but that wasn't something that was asked for in the subdivision.
so. If you saw it, you'll sign off on it.
It has
Yeah.
been signed off on.
Bill will sign off on it.
Well, it's already been
Well,
signed off on.
I mean,
We can't sign off for the DESCON portion, but.
So you could
yeah,
provide a bill of material, right?
Well, it's up to the engineer to check it. Yeah, I can.
But,
provide
yeah,
the bill.
so if
And it
you
was
have
all
that
supposed to be-
information, that's in
Yeah.
good faith, you would provide us a bill of material of what you used, right?
like you say you were there,
Yes,
what size of material was going in? What size of B gravel was going in? A 3-inch minus or 4-inch minus for the sub base?
well, it
No,
was,
this sub-base could have been bigger material, but according to the spec of the road, there's only have to be 11-inch or that amount that had to be, B minus, B material, 4-inch and minus.
Okay,
4-inch minus? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, on the last 11-inch.
So I'm a little
so
lost.
on the diagram, like, the B material is under the A material. The B material doesn't need to be the whole depth of,
I understand that, but
Yeah.
for quality wise, was there a set spec no bigger than 6-inch minus?
Jules, you
Yeah,
got that?
and that is the spec here, yeah, on the I'm up there.
And
For the
this is,
400, and it was done.
okay,
So,
sure. I mean,
But below that, you know what I mean, there was tall gravel material, and it could have been it came out of the pit. And that's why it's underneath there.
the biggest concern we have is,
It's up here.
no, the biggest concern we have is the sub base, the rocks that went in there were very large and they're gonna push through the
They
asphalt.
weren't.
I have pictures.
But the rocks won't be pushed. They
The
weren't
frost
that
will
big.
drive them through.
No. It's not on
So
the,
Okay,
you say
so-
that there's a requirement to have more, B than what the engineer required?
No,
More than 11
I'm just
inches?
asking what was,
Under the
like-
11 inches?
well, what is the 11 inches? I mean, I don't understand how much B was supposed to go for a base.
That's on the diagram from the
yeah,
engineer?
because I have to
I'm
put it
asking, I
up.
don't have it in front of me.
Okay,
Okay,
so
well-
hold on, guys. So again, I'm not a roads guy. Dan is. Dan has tons of knowledge on this, but from what I'm getting is this road was built and nobody from the township was looking at this to make sure that it was built properly, that the sub base was the proper size, that it was the
We
proper,
had Alex
depth, that
come
it was
out several
proper
times
size,
to
whatever.
inspect.
And then the only other option, because it hasn't been inspected to my knowledge, is an impaction study. Is that what it's called?
Well, test holes, you get some test holes.
Because they
Prove-
need to
prove the
know
material.
what the sub base is, because if, from my very
Yeah, no,
basic
you're right.
knowledge, if the rocks in the sub base are too big, during frost, it's gonna come up and mess up the road years down the road, right? So we're looking at longevity of the road. So we wanted to make sure that, and that's what's in the contract, in the agreement, is that the materials are from where they're supposed to be from, or the size and the quality that they're supposed to be.
I did get the material and I did ask, was it supposed to be pit run? And it was supposed to be gravel.
Sure, I mean,
So,
but there
and that's
should
why
be,
it was done on their basis, so I couldn't, see, I went to, Willette's bid, and I got the spec from Willette that it was meet the specs for the road.
well, where are the specs for the road? Like, it should say,
In our
we have-
subdivision.
Yeah,
agreement.
okay, but-
In our-
it'll say,
And I went to Miller's for some part of the phase two, and I asked them for B gravel, and they give me the spec for B gravel to be the base.
So I think the one email, if I may, the one email from Antoine where it summarized all of that, from that site inspection where he asked for a number of documents. So he's looking for the exact things that you're talking about. So if you can submit those into him, then he can go back out and do a full inspection. But he has spot checked on things. Let's say he spot checked, and those spot checks weren't successful. They didn't pass the specs that our road standards. So he asked for some of that material, or some of the evidence and the materials and the drawings. So if you can supply that to him, then he has a base to go back out to see this is how it was built.
I mean, alls we're really, as a council, I'm sure I'm speaking, is we're just looking to protect the township from having to rebuild a road in 5 years when the rocks push through with the frost or not, it's built according to specs.
But there's not a problem, okay? There's for that, and I wouldn't put any burden on the taxpayers. Okay?
So then we just need some sort of paperwork for the agreement, right? We can't go
You want
by,
the paperwork,
Well,
would you-
A test hole,
you don't need-
proof
I
of
think-
See,
purchase.
all this stuff
Well,
you're requiring,
like-
it wasn't on in the agreement.
so nowhere on the agreement did it say that it had to be
To our
this size, this
satisfaction.
depth, this
It
width,
does,
whatever?
Just for the.
Yeah,
this
I'd have
section
to
right
read through the road standard on that, on here, on the agreement. I don't think so, but then the other pieces of patch. So I'll have to research that a bit.
Okay,
I think it says to our
I-
satisfaction.
Yeah, I can say to our
right?
satisfaction,
So-
but, and we can, like, our engineer can still ask for this information. I mean, we
Yes,
have, it was inspected, it didn't pass inspection. We want to make sure it's going to pass inspection by the final product. So all of this information that you can give him helped us get that much closer, but
so Jules
haven't had
needs,
any response from that.
I'll just, to the point that you made earlier. So I don't care if it's 1 or 8 spots that failed, it failed. So if we're trying to establish a relationship, why would you, and you say it's not a big deal, why does it have to be a big deal for you to fix it now as opposed to having to
Well-
wait for final? Like, that's the piece where I'm like, this isn't, that is in all of the other stuff is one more piece of that's breaking down what has been a strained relationship as we're trying to work together. Like, we're getting accused of being unreasonable, except our engineers saying, yeah, I'm not passing that inspection. That's what we have to go on,
and then,
right? So I'm like, so then you come to us today and go, well, it's not a big deal, but yeah, we have to take that as not a big deal, as opposed to you saying, oh, not a big deal, let us fix
I
that,
didn't say
and
it
then you
wasn't
can
a
pack
big
it.
deal. It can be remediated when the pavement goes.
Okay, but
Or
you do-
now,
At the road.
You just
at the-
can't go and shove 4 feet of material over. It needs to be compacted. It needs to be brought up right. Like you just can't put 4 feet of material over the edge and call it done.
No, with the material, like, the road is not 4 feet shy, nowhere.
That was the numbers you guys just used.
No, that's
No.
what's in.
That's what
the-
not when it says, but it's not, like, you know, so anyway. that is
are you
not there.
confident the road is gonna pass? If Antoine goes back out and measures every piece of this and comes back and he'll say, yep, it is exactly the spec of width that it
And
needs
if
to be
it's
in the
missing-
subdivision
if
agreement,
it's Missing. we'll
you'll fix it before we move forward,
Yeah, there's not a problem, it needs to be, you know,
okay?
but not indicating the whole. road.
And what does that, what
What do you
does
mean the whole
either,
road?
So in,
Because I know the spec, what Antoine has inspected, that's where it probably was a little shy when the grader came around the corner.
so,
But the whole,
yes,
the whole 28 feet, it is up to par at the present, but I would like him to inspect it, that he was supposed to come inspect it, that I had required. And,
But to be clear, he did come to inspect it. It didn't pass. He asked for additional information. We have never
yes, but
received
that
that
was
additional
only, that
information.
was only for that little section, Nikki. Okay? On a rainy day.
okay,
All right?
I
Okay.
don't see, like, if you can show me where he asked for,
Yeah, I
the-
can,
and like he did say that verbally he spoke with, or someone spoke with Jules to talk about a compaction test, but
But
that didn't
didn't-
come
But the
to.
compa-
That day, didn't
Yeah,
you and
you were there.
Antoine got pulled
We
off to
never
the side and
discussed-
you had a conversation of what needed to be done?
We talked about, we didn't talk about a compaction test.
yeah, you
Well,
were
it
in
says
the
right
room.
here, there was also discussion of a final compaction test prior to asphalt that your client agreed to perform.
I
Upon
would say-
completion of the above mentioned work to meet the road standard, another site inspection would occur. So,
That
But
wasn't.
my
with-
engineer indicated to me, like, on the subdivision agreement, there was no, asking for compaction test. There was no asking for this on the subdivision agreement.
When you build,
So
okay.
anyway, I just want to say,
One other question, I mean, was there a roller, a vibrating roller, used for compaction when you built the road? How was the road compacted?
let's compact with driving through back. and
That
forth.
doesn't, that's not a
It's the same
compaction.
thing. But anyway. the
okay,
material-
so can I ask,
Okay,
I just, here's the thing. If we're trying to move forward, if you're confident that your road is gonna pass inspection, then you are firm in that belief. So it wouldn't be a big deal if Antoine goes out, and then if we ask for a compaction test, not a big deal. You shouldn't be worried about a compact test or providing us the results of a
because-
compaction test because you're confident that the road is built fine.
So
So,
not comfortable with paying for a compaction.
well, but it's gotta be built to the satisfaction of the municipality, and if we have concerns that have been raised that it is not compacted appropriately, now all of a sudden we're asked to be held with the liability of that now and in the future.
And,
But Bryco has signed off on the liability.
well, it doesn't matter. We gotta assume the road and we
Is
gotta worry about our
Bryco gonna come back
taxpayers.
out and rebuild the road in 5 years from now if it's not
And-
Well, if
done
you
well?
want a compaction test, then like, I think that's your responsibility.
Well, I think this is where we're gonna
yours.
find an impasse.
So, okay, you got materials. Was there a proctor ever taken on any of these materials so we can have a proper compaction test? So we know what it should compact to?
Yeah, because I got the spec from the MCO, the engineer, that they authorized that material,
They
And the,
authorize, you still need,
and it was real, it was good compacting material, or whatever.
regardless, I mean, when you build a road, you need a roller, a vibrating compactor to compact to 98%.
So, you know, that's-
So anyway, you know what, to go back to, the deputy mayor's point, if Antoine and your engineer should meet and go through the whole road, and see if it passes, and if it passes, then there's no issue.
well, there is an issue only because after going through the agreement, if you have no insurance, you're now in breach because it clearly states that you need to have insurance.
only if I do work on the road, but the road is in municipality, and I can afford. That's why I said I can't
I
do any
know,
more work on
I
the road
know.
until we sell some
I mean,
property.
we've got,
And,
I think we have a choice here because we're also 2 years or the sale of 4 lots past the expiry date. So that's what's in the agreement, right? The time frame. But it does say that we could amend the agreement at some point, because I think that, I'm not sure if this is a legal question, is this agreement now null and void because there are these breaches? So I'm not sure, or if we need another amendment, or, because this was 2021, and I think it was 36 months, the length of this agreement. We're now in 2026.
And I think we come to you with, 3 good options, so you could move forward, and you rejected all of them, so, I mean,
Wow.
I thought we were being more than generous.
the option is for me to withdraw from the subdivision in all 3 of them. And you think I'm gonna
No.
withdraw from it?
No, that was
No, no,
that
no.
was not the options in all 3.
One was to make it a private road.
I don't wanna make a private road.
Okay, but
that's not what you
That's not
Yeah, yeah, that's
withdrawing,
not what you said.
the
That was-
agreement would still be in place.
You would still have your
Yeah.
subdivision, it's just a private road now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And
who
if
builds
that's
on a
not what you
private
wanna
road?
do, that's fine.
No.
Like, we're not trying to
Yeah.
pressure you into it. It's.
We
but
gave
it-
you a decent
So-
option.
Can we clarify what the 3 options were?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I have them here.
So option 1 was to,
doesn't matter.
Okay.
You've got-
you got it?
This is the final letter.
Yeah.
So, option 1 was to terminate the subdivision agreement and convey the road parcel back to Mr. Gagne. The key steps and actions would be to execute agreement to terminate the subdivision agreement, pass and register road closing bylaw, convey road allowance back to Mr. Gagne, release securities to Mr. Gagne, less 50% of any expenses incurred by the township. And the potential benefits for that, it allows for the continued development of the existing lots through private access arrangements, with the road functioning as a private road rather than a municipally assumed road.
So that's private road, right?
And then there's a few more benefits. Do you want me to go through all of them?
I think it's helpful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I do think it's helpful.
Okay, lots in the plan remain separately transferable by Mr. Gagne as they form part of a registered plan of subdivision and may be conveyed without further consent pursuant to Section 50 of the Planning Act. Mr. Gagne may grant a non-exclusive right-of-way over the road parcel to each lot owner without Planning Act approval, as this does not create a new division of land and therefore does not contravene subsection 50.3 of the Planning Act. Flexibility in granting easements to Hydro One, specific or blanket, which similarly do not require consent under the Planning Act where no new parcels are created. Option 2, status quo with future potential of deeming the lots not to be in a registered subdivision. Key steps in the actions: issue a notice of default with revised timeline, pass road closing bylaw, conditional on future construction and assumption, continue to hold securities. Potential benefits: this approach allows Mr. Gagne to continue advancing the development of the subdivision, with all work being completed in compliance with the subdivision agreement and within a defined timeline while maintaining compliance with the Planning Act. After June 27, 2030, if incomplete, Council may pass a deeming bylaw under subsection 50.4 of the Planning Act, which would have the effect of deeming the plan of subdivision not to be a registered plan for the purposes of section 50 and terminate subdivision agreement and release securities less township's expenses. That's option 2. Option 3, mutual termination with closure of road and merger of lands back to a single parcel. Subject to mutual agreement, the subdivision would effectively be unwound, returning the lands to a single consolidated property. Key steps in the actions. Execute a mutual agreement to terminate the subdivision agreement. Pass a road closing bylaw in accordance with the municipal act, including any required notice. Register the road closing bylaw and title. Convey the road allowance lands back to Mr. Gagne. Take necessary steps to merge the lots back into a single parcel, including any required legal and land registry actions, and/or the passage of a deeming bylaw under subsection 50.4 of the Planning Act. Release securities to Mr. Gagne less township expenses incurred to date. Potential consideration. The individual lots would no longer be separately conveyable, as title would merge into one single property and/or cease to be recognized as separate parcels for conveyance purposes. Future development of the lands would require new planning approvals under the Planning Act, including consent or subdivision approval as applicable. This option provides a clean exit for both parties, eliminating ongoing obligations under the subdivision agreement. So council requested that he review these options and come back to council.
So, Jules, we worked with our legal counsel and we asked for potential options that we could present to you as we are trying to figure out how to move this forward, move beyond it, whatever that's going to look like, in a way that is not in contravention to the subdivision agreement, which, you know, we have a legal document that we're trying to adhere to, that we're trying to abide by. And so I don't think I'm speaking out of turn because you've said this very publicly, and I'll state it. Most of the challenges come down to, you know, you've put a lot of money into this and you've exhausted your funds. So you're trying to figure out how to do this and comply with the subdivision agreement. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's becoming increasingly more challenging with funds, with liquid cash being able to be available to you. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, like saying that, if I know, like in every other place, like a subdivision, besides a small community like this, it takes a long time.
Sure.
And it takes a long time because I gotta compete with a severance application.
Sure.
And they're selling a lot cheaper. And for me to develop, all I wanted at the time in 1990 was to have a few lots to give to my family so they can stay here. But I was pushed to do a subdivision. So I
By whom?
spent,
Not
by
by
council.
It
of
would
the
be the
day.
planning policies.
Okay.
Any more than a certain number of lots, you have to go to a
Yeah.
subdivision.
Right.
But I did learn more after that I didn't have to go through a subdivision agreement, but that's what the municipality has pushing that. But anyway, that's in the past. So now I'm at that stage. All I'm asking is council to give a little bit more time because it takes time to sell these lots, that I need 100,000 for these lots instead of 65,000 for a severance, that I gotta compete on the road because I gotta bring it out. So the road will come up just standard. It'll come in Houston, but right now it's passable. It is in good shape. So I will bring everything back up. If I could sell a few lots, then there were people building on it and everything else. And at present time, if that do happen, the municipality's got the security there. If I die or whatever, to put the road up to standard. So I'm not worried. But it needs time. I didn't thought it was gonna be lots of time because when Descon built, I thought with the seniors home would have helped. Descon was gonna buy lot 8, the renege. So anyway, at the present time, I had to pay some of my bills. So the lot 4 is transferred out, but I didn't get no money for it because I had to compensate him with land instead of cash. So now everything else is more peaceful.
Sorry.
So
so I gotta
all
step
I'm
in for a
asking is time, and the road will be brought up to the municipal standard. And, it'll be done, whatever it is, but the road is up to.
And I hear what you're saying, Jules, and I can appreciate it. But you gotta understand from the township, we're liable for that road. If anything happens on there, we're liable. And the first thing it's gonna say, the road's not up to standard.
Well, it's not up to, here you're liable for here.
And that's what I'm saying. What if we, like,
Well,
let's just end that
Deal
conversation.
with that,
And
and you're liable here, and you're compensating the landowner, and you're not trying to compensate me as a developer. And I'm the first person that's been doing some developing in this township for 50 years.
yeah, I don't know that it's fair to say we're compensating the other developer
Well,
only
are.
for the.
You're assuming this road.
You don't know what our relationship is with the other developer or the conversations or the commitments to the
Okay.
other
But you still
contractors.
assume you would like to resolve the problem for that section of road for this.
To help
landowner.
you, Jules, that's what I'm
It's not
saying,
for
like,
the
that's,
developer, it's for you.
I'm fine not to assume that part of the road at this point, like, I'm trying to
It's
figure out a way,
okay, I'm
because
not
you're
talking
asking me,
about
yeah.
assume, but I'm saying, you're kind of liability if the road just stays in the township name and people using it.
Correct, yeah.
But are you liability right now when the people are using this road to come here?
And that's why I'm asking, how are we liable if we have not assumed that road yet?
Because.
How does that put the liability? Is that the registration of the subdivision
Because
agreement?
we own it,
So
yes.
then that road puts the liability on us. That's what the talk has been all
Yeah.
about, is the liability.
Yeah, and that's
That
why-
road only goes one place, and it's around there. It goes to Jules's house, and it goes from the
Seniors home.
senior's home. So why couldn't that road just be, without registering or without doing anything, why can't that road just be blocked off? No traveling on there.
Right.
Why couldn't Jules block that off? Or why couldn't we block it off without going through any process to leave Jules where he's at this point? His, rather than say, okay, we're going to close that road, we're going to go through all the process. It's going to cost you, Jules, $4,000. It's going to cost the township $4,000. So what can we do to block the traffic from there? Because they're not going anywhere. They're only going, they would be going past the senior's home and down to Jules. They go down this way, and you say we've already assumed that portion of the road, right?
Right.
So then block both ends of that road off.
And you already have
Why
a
can't
sign
that be done?
You already got the sign up here, and the sign here stating that the road is not maintained by the municipality. So that covers the municipality.
No.
No, it doesn't. That's not what our lawyer told us.
Yeah. So
What's that?
to legally,
Remember, we had the meeting with Ed, and he said that just putting a sign up does not take the onus off the municipality. It has to be fully blocked off.
How about the road that's.
so we have to do the road
municipality owns?
closure bylaw that's to make it legal, right? So in the subdivision agreement, the owner is supposed to carry insurance to cover and be that first base. So if something does happen on the road, we didn't build the road, it's not signed off on, it's nothing. So they carry that insurance to protect both parties. We don't have that insurance. And then to officially say that that road is closed, we have to do the
Okay.
close.
Steps, yeah.
And that removes, it still doesn't eliminate the risk, but it removes a great deal of the risk. Because that bylaw gets registered on the lands of the road to say that they're closed.
Okay, when you mention insurance, so then Jules has to provide insurance for that road as well, or only the municipality provides
So the
insurance?
agreement says that the developer does as well.
Both,
Yeah.
both provides it.
So it's just automatically in our blanket insurance when we own land if something happens. That's just automatically in ours. But to protect the township and the taxpayers, there's also the requirement for the developer until we assume it. And then he doesn't need to have insurance anymore.
But I think too, we need to find a way to give him back some money,
I'm not
right?
worried about the money.
Oh, you're not worried about the
I'm
money?
not worried about the money because, like I said, if I sell the lots, the people are there and they find out, do the remaining work that Antoine has indicated, use half the money.
So
It's
you,
not sufficient.
you'll
money.
understand
It is.
why this is discombobulating at best. In November,
Yeah.
Jules, you were,
Remember, I was in a.
yeah, but just from our position, you're standing in front of us demanding and like yelling at us that we have to release your money. And that wasn't reasonable to us. And you're now saying that you don't even need the money. Now that the pressure's off of you, it's not unreasonable that we have that money because it's a security. And you're saying we should have that security in case you die. You mentioned that earlier. So, but you can see why perhaps the relationship is strained when you're standing in front of us yelling at us
Yeah.
Okay.
that
Yeah.
Nobody's selling tonight.
nobody's yelling tonight.
Anyway, at that time was concerning the phase one here, okay? And the road was done up to some standard that I could have received back some funds on the phase one. So, that was done
But-
at the time.
Well, we're gonna.
But-
So
look at it
just to clarify, Jules, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. It doesn't work that way if the road comes up to some standard. It has to be to the standard to get your money back.
It's, and on the agreement, it said that the road could have been up to, B gravel. And I
Prepaid.
could have received-
Pre-surface.
Pre-service treatment, sure, but it had to meet the requirements of the width, the depth.
Yeah.
So
But
all-
I did not get Antoine to the inspection of the phase one, okay? And that's what we were required, that was the phase one that was going up to here.
So that's all we're missing to like verify phase one is the width of the road and the impaction study or impaction study. or whatever
Yeah,
it is,
so the
right?
whole road now is, they claim is done and it's signed off on by the engineers.
By their engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when our engineer went out to do that inspection, it didn't pass. He's asked for additional information. He's not received it.
Right.
So he's not been back out for another inspection.
Right.
But, yeah.
So to move on, if he came back out and measured multiple spots in the road for the width of the road,
Mhm.
and you guys provide a list of the materials and where you got the materials from and the paction study, then we're good to move on to phase two if they all
And
pass.
phase two is done
done,
and
yeah,
complete
done.
as
We
well
didn't take it,
without
You can do the
securities.
whole thing.
Without security, sorry,
And
okay.
and that's when Antoine did, after he come out, did the inspection, and he needed the evaluation cost of the whole road. So, the whole road, the fund was there to cover the whole road.
Right.
And I would give you entitled to sell any lots. That's if I had, people willing to buy.
So to break this down, if your engineer and our engineer meet on site once again and go through the whole road and
Would like-
have everything resolved,
Yeah.
just follow me, get everything resolved, width, depth, compaction,
Material.
or material, spot check, like we asked, this isn't even a conversation anymore.
Right?
No.
Right.
But the thing is, I don't mind bringing out Antoine to discuss it with me, but I
It can't be
don't,
with you, it has to be with your engineer.
well, Alicia might be available, but I don't wanna put engineers, it's the same thing if you're gonna go and negotiate from one company to the other company.
So you don't want, am I getting
don't
this,
want the
am I getting this
conflict
right?
between engineers. I just want,
No, but it has to be
Report.
there has to be, there has to be your engineer and our engineer to work this out.
Mhm.
It can't be with you, Jules. It's past you.
well, I'll ask my engineer, or if you send someone, if Antoine is there and resolve it. there's
Well, we
no
can get
problem.
Antoine there, it's not a problem. It's just, you get your engineer, but no more back and forth. Let's get everybody on site so we can hash this out and put this to bed.
Because the alternative is, sorry, we send our engineer without your engineer there, and you're just gonna get sent a list of to-dos.
If you're willing to sit and look at, yeah, if they contact Antoine, come and do the inspection
With your engineer.
with my engineer.
Yes.
And
it'd be
It has to
okay.
be your engineer. Your engineer signed off and there's disagreement in that, so that they have to
It's the
resolve.
two engineers to work it out now.
Yeah,
And-
but Alicia is representing Bill. Right.
We'll have to, like, have
Alright.
to go back.
So, sorry, Alicia.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
are you
understand,
in-
and I think is reasonable and that is required because the letter isn't clear.
Right.
Like, you know, the,
I mean, this could be put to bed so easily if the engineers just meet on site, figure out what has to be done, and then something written up, and if this is done, like, if you say it'll pass, let's have the 2 engineers there to see if it passes. That's it, Jules. I mean, it doesn't have to be
I'll
difficult.
clarify it.
Sure.
So
That's it.
because this has gone on back and forth a little bit with some different stories, for this meeting, can we have somebody from our staff represented and somehow record this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's 2 issues, hopefully. One is that one section in front of the seniors housing, we have to go away and we will consult, and if we can come back to you with ideas, and if we can just be like, yeah, we'll assume the road,
I
like,
don't know that sorry, can I enter? I don't think
Yeah.
we need to assume the road. I think they're just looking for a statement, correct me if I'm wrong, that you are not responsible for that section of the road. So they're
Okay,
just looking for a
sure.
statement.
Yeah, so we'll release liability, whatever that looks like from your engineer, from you, for that, up to the second driveway of the seniors complex. So just so we're all on the same page, does that make sense?
Yeah, and
Okay.
do I get paid for the invoice from, I did on that road? Because my engineer had to relocate the culvert to accommodate.
I don't think that's our fight, Jules. I think that's your fight with Descon.
Not really, because you own the road.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They did the work, not us.
Yeah, but it.
but you authorized the work.
You authorized the work in Descon, you didn't supervise it.
Really
Yeah.
authorize
We
work?
didn't ask Descon to do that work.
We didn't ask those.
And they created me.
We didn't ask Jules to do the work either.
We
No.
informed that work needed to be done in order for him to continue.
Sure, but I mean, you just can't go upon yourself and do it and then hand us a bill. I mean,
Well,
if that was the case, if that was the case, our public works, if we were instructed to, they could have done it for a lot cheaper. I mean, Jules, if you're saying it's our property, Jules doesn't have the right to go work on our property.
I did have the right. to
No, you
do
don't.
that.
If it's our road, if it's our property, you
I
do not
did.
have the right.
I did have the right because I had the insurance on there and I did the whole other work on municipal property at that time.
I don't know about that.
I'm really trying to figure out how to move this
It's additional
forward.
work that Jules had to do that wasn't in his.
Well, I
plan.
think the first
Um,
thing you should do is have the engineers there. Number 1.
But this is a separate issue now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to try and fix this. Like if Descom was responsible for a certain part of it and they didn't hold up their end of the agreement by taking this material away or by putting it in the proper location.
Well,
Is
here's
it
the other.
Descon? Is
Probably
it
all
us? Is
verbal
it?
too, right? There's nothing
Jules,
in
is it-
Here's
writing.
the other thing I would touch on, Jules. If that landowner wanted that material, why wouldn't you could have just flung it onto, put it on their property instead of hauling it away.
Because I didn't have the okay to haul that material on their property.
Well, you could have asked for
Yeah,
one.
he was there.
And you didn't,
But he didn't.
and if we're going that route, I mean, you didn't have the okay from the township to do it.
Well, the township, this was a section on my subdivision agreement. Okay,
Yeah.
it's the same.
Yeah, again, I'm really just trying to positively move this forward,
Yes.
so I'm trying to figure out, okay, so if, I think for that section of road, we have some homework to do, we'll figure out, we have some legal stuff we gotta have to look into, and none of us are sitting up here as legal experts, but that's okay, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
For the road, I think we've now landed on the 2 engineers will get together. If everybody's happy, and we're happy, because quite frankly, I'm not an engineer, and if our engineer comes back and says, then, hey, I'm happy. The other piece of that subdivision agreement, Jules, through a conversation, and whether that you're hoping to have this conversation tonight or not, is hydro, right? That's the other big piece that's holding up your potential future development, right?
Okay, and
Yes,
Go
really,
ahead.
yeah. I just trying to knock your
Okay.
problems here, yeah?
Yeah.
on the hydro, I wasn't aware, and everybody else was aware, the consultants and everything, okay? I was inagreeable to put the hydro on the road with poles. And I would compensate the lot, okay? But the law has changed when the hydro look at this as a subdivision. then they make a different plan that I wasn't aware until the final stage of their thing. Now, the hydro wanted to bring in the hydro at a cost, and I had to put the secondary in. And that would have been at my cost. There's a secondary,
Is to the lot lines, right?
no,
Or to the outward.
where the house or somewhere
Right.
else on the property. Then I would have to pay for that, but that was not what was my understanding or explained to me or nothing. So I, on the hydro, I can show you the big plan. Okay. On the big plan, they had drawn out all the poles. Okay, and I was understanding until the last stage, when I went, said, well, they're gonna bury the wire. I said, what wire? So I called the hydro and I said, what do you mean burying the wire? I thought it was all overhead and poles. They said, no, you gotta put the secondary in and energize all these lots.
So
And I
again,
said, why should I energize all these lots when there's no building there? And there's nobody living there and nobody using the hydro? And then after that, under surgery, I gotta dish out, you give me the estimate cost. And if these things are not energized inside of 3 years, I lose all the money. So it's kind of a waste of money. So now, when I called the hydro and I explained them, I haven't sold any lots. We don't need no hydro. Oh, okay, Jules, it's not a problem. We'll just, I said, when you're ready to energize the lot here or there, call the number for the guy that will come in and set up the plan, and he'll designate it, the hydro, to whoever lot you sold, and we'll service it,
So just one at a time.
one at a time.
So you're running all the poles and then energizing each lot?
Well, that's what this is required, but I can
No, that's not.
afford that, you know?
Right, so
But now, if I would sell a lot down here,
right,
okay, then I would probably help the landowner to bring the hydro to the road. Then the landowner would pay for the phase two to go to his house where he wants to build. And that's what's every,
so, I'm just trying to understand what you just said there, Jules. Are you saying that the landowner will be responsible to run the poles in?
no,
You will be,
I will be bringing the poles
and
in,
they're responsible for the secondary.
the secondary, and that's what's
Energizing.
my understanding. But there's no rush right now until the lots are sold. The last,
that makes sense to me because people are gonna wanna build in different locations. You don't wanna pay for it and lose it if it doesn't get
yeah,
done within
and the
the 2
hydro
years.
pays for the secondary when they own the land. It's the same thing when you have a severance. Yeah, the landowner, you bring in the pole is there, and the landowner pays.
So our agreement was that the hydro gets hooked up with the pole. So Jules is saying the exact same thing as what we originally wanted. Hydro kind of changed the game on them a little bit, but not, it doesn't affect us if the poles get put in and then
Yeah,
eventually they're gonna have to pay for the secondary.
I'll be honest, this is probably the easiest one from my perspective, because I actually have very little concern that this is gonna be between you and the homeowner. If you're not providing hydro to that homeowner, then that homeowner, you're gonna be hugely liable
Yeah,
to that homeowner.
and they'll make sure when they buy the lot, yes, I'll sign the
So
agreement.
all of that is easy for me. Where I'm challenged is, we're looking at a legal document, which is the
Right.
subdivision agreement is. So I'm all for if we want to look at amendment to that legal agreement to figure out and get hydro to say, yeah, they'll run whatever. But we have to do it formally is
Yeah.
like.
So this
the
what
piece for
the
me.
letter from the hydro is indicating. Okay? Hi, Joe, thank you for the calling of your call yesterday. As we discussed, we are on a going process with requests of payment power service to your lot, and will proceed to close the file on the end. When you are ready to propose, please reach out to the Hydro One call center to request service and layout.
So essentially, when I hear that, Jules, is what I'm getting from that is they're closing your file and you have to start over again.
Yeah, but it's just gonna be on individual lots, building, that they would come in and not.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay? We request service and layout. They will
Right.
come out and do the layout, and I would do the poll for
So
every lot, but I
one at a
won't be,
time.
I won't be doing this, secondary.
So the original, agreement was that you put all the poles in.
Well, that
Right.
was my
But he
understanding.
understood that way.
Okay, so are you in a position that you can do that? And then when you sell the lots, the homeowners are gonna do the secondary, that's what you're saying?
Yeah,
You're gonna put all the poles in
I will
as
put
per
in,
the agreement.
as soon as I sell a lot, I'll be putting the pole in.
Was that what the agreement was when,
Well, the
was that the
hydro,
hydro gets put in when the lots get sold? Or that the hydro gets put in
Before ahead of time.
well,
with the, yeah,
that the hydro will be on the road for the, before, for the building, because you won't get occupancy if the hydro is not there.
Right. So, and this is where,
Yeah.
again, sorry, Nikki, I'm not sure if you have anything. For me, the only, I see very little liability if it's formally changed for the municipality. This isn't like a road, this isn't, like, this is hydro to the lots. So this is gonna be between you and the homeowner, but we all of a sudden are messy in the middle if we're not, if it's in the subdivision agreement, they're gonna hold us to account that we didn't hold you to account. So that's why it has to be formally changed in the subdivision agreement, if that's something the council wants to explore, is how to, this is me trying to help you to go, I get it, it's wildly expensive to put in hydro. What are the options that we could present to say, okay, we could loosen this up and make it much easier that for you to be able to do it when you have some liquid cash, fair enough. Amend the subdivision agreement so that it is still, there will be hydro there when somebody goes to get
You can
a,
amend
get a
just
building
as
permit.
one
And
clause, that the law on the subdivision, just one clause indicating that the subdivider will be providing the hydro to the lot line for any, people on the lot.
What do you got in there, Nikki?
Just looking to see if there was a drawing that had the hydro.
And is it fair that we would, if we were to explore that, that it would say, prior to the issuing of a building permit?
Yeah, if the lot is sold, they want a building permit, yes, I'll drive in the hydro up to that lot.
Before we even issue a building permit? I'm just,
Yeah, I don't think the
You
law.
can't
this
do
might
a
be
permit till the road. but-
yeah, I'm assuming the road is gonna be up to spec because the engineers are getting
Yeah.
together and everything's gonna be, I've moved past that. We're gonna pretend our road is gonna be perfect. So now hydro.
So then you would say in the subdivision agreement, subject to the homeowner obtaining a permit from Hydro One for the hydro on the lot, right?
Phase two.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Mine order would go with phase two.
If paperwork, if that legal agreement is written in a way that it's costing you, I don't know, $150,000 upfront, and we can amend that so that it can be done differently, that's where I would like to work with you, Jules.
Okay.
But, so I want to work with you on that, which is easy. However, I know just from our conversation, I have to stand by, we have to do that formally, whatever that looks like. We got to amend the subdivision agreement. We can't just do it at a handshake agreement, because then all of a sudden there's some liability there
But
for us.
there's only that one clause for the hydro.
Yeah.
But it's still, you still
It's
gotta
an
get,
amendment,
yeah,
Yeah.
still gotta have
I
our
don't think
lawyer.
it'll be astronomical by any means, like it's an amendment, like,
just an
although it's a
amendment.
lawyer, so I don't know, but yeah.
The mayor would know.
Yeah, the lawyers are expensive.
Because,
You gotta pay me, you know.
Oh, yeah.
the connection would be just to run the pole was 113,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And after that, once I energized, I only got 5 years to energize it, then they expect, I would have to give them $66,000 in advance. And that's why at that time.
I can appreciate that.
So anyway, I got the confirmation from the hydro that they would bring in the power and there would be no problem.
Can
Yeah,
we-
and- sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead. I mean, I guess Jules, I guess that would be handy if you could send Nikki that hydro information, so we, the email you got saying what hydro's saying to you, so then,
That hydro's acceptable, that if we change the subdivision agreement, hydro has no problem with the new plan, which is you're gonna sell a lot. From their perspective, I'm hoping that it would be fine, because at the end of the day, there'll still be hydro, there'll still be brought hydro in before somebody tries to build a house there, because there'll be that time period between you sold the lot and somebody's applying for a building permit, like you'll have that period of time to
Yeah.
get it in, right? That's would be your intention?
Yeah,
Yeah, so we do need to just formalize that in
Okay.
an amendment.
So I am back to the liability part again. Could we do a bylaw to temporarily close that road?
We started that.
Yeah, you can do the bylaw to close the road and then just rescind it.
And then there's no pressure put on Jules to get this all done. You obviously want to proceed as you were proceeding in the past. You're not concerned right now about the release of the deposit. You want to move forward, but you don't want us to put pressure on you with respect to the road. You guys can follow through, have your engineers look at it, and there'll be conversation between the engineers and through Nikki and Alex as well. And then we could move forward that way. Where I get it from council is they're concerned about the liability on the road. So let's do something that's not going to cost an arm and a leg for the township or for Jules, and just put a temporary. You're not interrupting anybody's service to their homes or anything. You're just going around there. Just put a
We
bylaw
put
for
something
that,
up.
that
Yeah.
property description. And then we can, if he moves forward in a different manner, then we could we revisit the bylaw because it's a temporary thing?
Hey, you
Right.
just rescind the bylaw.
Okay.
Yeah, you just rescind, so you just pass the bylaw, there's no cost at all for that. And then you just rescind the bylaw when you're done. The only, I would like to get some advice on what do we do, because if the road needs remedial work and it's closed, technically no one can be on the road, so how do we put a provision in for that? So we might have to do an exemption or something. So I'll get the lawyer to work with me on that.
Yeah, I'm
wording.
sure
Yeah.
there's legalese that
It's
can be
just to
added
be
to that, for
transparent,
sure.
like, there's
So,
going to be
yeah.
something.
My other concern or question is, if the subdivision agreement has expired,
I'll seek advice from our lawyer.
what do we do?
It doesn't really expire and.
Well,
No, it does.
it
does
expired.
expire.
It's
got
expired
dates,
now.
Yeah.
Did the council grant an
All it
extension?
was
Yeah.
indicating,
Sure.
Donna, is the,
Sure,
Yeah, that's
Expiry
easy. Like, I
date.
mean,
that's an easy
building.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that it?
Is that it?
So you don't think
And-
that the actual agreement expires?
Well,
Because it takes a long time.
and honestly, even
the
if
road-
it
and the
does,
road is
Joel,
there,
Yeah,
so-
that's not
yeah.
the end of the world.
No.
Like that's a clerical thing from our perspective to figure out how to support you through that. Like that's.
That really, it's a motion
Yeah.
of council.
For
to
that,
extend the. the agreement.
absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just-
Doesn't really-
we agree.
But I just want to make sure if we need to do that, then
That
we
we do it.
should,
Well,
which protects you maybe in the future,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, can we have the motion?
I
Oh
don't
boy,
have
this will be
any-
fun to read.
I don't have any motions
just to close.
No,
for this.
close the meeting.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
like that.
I need a mover and seconder.
Can we summarize super quick? So
Okay,
the first part of the road, we're looking at taking it off of Joel's responsibility
On Eric.
On Eric.
on Eric Street.
Yeah.
Up to the second.
Jules's, people are gonna meet with our people
Engineers, not
Engineers.
people,
Thank you.
engineers.
Yeah.
and we're going to record it.
But your engineers first.
We're gonna record that conversation to see about the width of the road and and the action study and the materials list.
Slow down. Materials, compaction, measurements.
There's technical standards, because a compaction test, and like, I don't want it to be stated that I'm agreeing to compaction test. We're agreeing to meet and discuss the technical standards of the road and passing the road.
I think, see, that's where it's gonna get sticky, because we need a compaction test. I mean,
Are you asking for the compaction test, or is the engineer asking for the compaction? test?
well, the engineer will.
Okay, well, we'll. see.
He's our engineer, so he's gonna ask what we ask
Whatever the
him.
engineers.
Right, I'm not trying to make it difficult, but I mean,
I'm not either, I
passing-
just don't want to put
just
something too
passing
specific
dump
in the
truck-
agreement
well,
if it's not required.
on a road, when you're building a road, you need a compaction, something to compact it.
Okay, so yeah, we talked about a lot today, so I just wanna
Yeah, yeah.
try and summarize as much as we can and make it easy on everybody moving forward. So that meeting is gonna be recorded
Mhm.
and have representation from the municipality as well?
Mhm.
What are we
Yeah.
missing?
And-
So we
And
get
then the hydro.
the hydro?
There's a plan, and that's where we start, and then
Yeah.
it'll go along, be easier for you, Jules, be easier for the staff and council.
Yeah. because-
And I have to appreciate that you have stayed working for so long. And I don't want to see us, this council, lose that subdivision. The taxes, the tax dollars, the more people come to our schools, more people use our businesses. And I really have to say thank you for sticking with it, and council will work with you as long as we can and as long as there's conversation like today. And I offer you the support from council and the staff at this point, and thank you for staying with your subdivision. And any questions, I'm sure you guys can get it resolved. If there's any big issue at any time you want a council meeting, we'll just call it. If there's issues that we have to, you requires council, just let Nikki know and we can call a meeting like we have already. And thank you for coming out and giving us information. I think
I
is
gotta
very
thank, and the biggest
helpful
hurdle
tonight.
was- Yeah, I have to thank you all, because the biggest hurdle was that section in front of the C zone, that they put the engineers in perspective.
Right, thank you. And
And that's all, like I said, I'm paying tax on all these lots, and it's 100% more tax that I gotta pay with, you know, whatever is there at the time, so.
And sorry,
Mayor, I'm
in
paying
summary,
tax.
we're also trying to figure out as best as we can as a municipality who was responsible for the extra costs. Right?
I don't know that we're
Because
gonna be able to figure that
No, it's
out.
not
If
us.
we don't have it on record anywhere that, like, Descom was building the road and they were responsible for.
I don't think that's
we were
us to
responsible for that.
mediate though.
So Jules is going back to them then, and we're,
Jules will do
Have
what
that
Jules does,
conversation.
but I mean,
I'm only bringing it up because it
I'm
was a
happy to
large
consult
portion
with-
of our
Make-
talk
make-
today.
yeah,
Some notes
I'm
on
happy
it.
to have an in-camera meeting with our lawyer to look at our own exposure on that. And like, cause again, we're not lawyers, so let's have that conversation with our lawyer. But at this point, I'm not inclined to go down any further than we need to have a conversation with our lawyer.
So that's a Jules and Descom thing.
Well, no, I mean Descom, because the property is in the township thing, that's why I was trying.
And Jules,
And it changed the plan, my engineer charged me to.
No, I was
move
giving
the
it to
culvert.
Nikki.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it's
So
Oh,
Jules.
do you
anyway,
want-
let's see what you said and
yeah,
then.
and
Thank you.
we're by no means trying to be unfair here. Like, look at, if our lawyer says, hey, I think it's you guys, fair enough. Like, we're not unreasonable
Okay, well,
people,
we'll
right?
talk
Yeah.
about it later on
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
so we'll carry on
Yeah.
whatever was discussed.
Yeah, and then just so one more clarity piece that because we're closing the road, there'll be no work. We're gonna have to work on a provision for any work that
Yeah,
that you and or a representative authorized by you is gonna do, and then there has to be insurance, right? Like that's,
Well,
yeah, once,
we'll look at that. and at the
yeah, like
time,
that, yeah, we're gonna say like if for any work that happens at all, like so if there's deficiencies that need to be corrected, you can't go correct them on a closed road
Without
without insurance, even if we're gonna put, like I'm just so we're all putting all the cards on the table. Don't be surprised, you're gonna see that, I'm sure, in all the work, paperwork that's gonna follow the conversation tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's understandable, like.
Okay, yeah.
like I say, as long as we got all deficiency and everything, and.
Yeah.
When time comes, that I gotta
Fix her
do
up.
it.
Yeah.
Put the insurance on,
Okay, that's fair.
like,
Yeah.
and that's why. Okay,
I think so.
thank you very much, Mayor Mary and council.
Thanks, Jules. Thanks, Jules. It was a good conversation.
Well, at least, I'm glad your council has seen the pictures and see where, what it was.
Yeah, I'm glad you heard us too, Jules. I think, that's what makes a good conversation. We heard each other.
Okay. Is there anything else? We're good?
Well, we just got to pass a
Yeah,
motion
we
here,
gotta-
a couple of motions.
Do you want to pass the motion for the summary? We don't really have to. Or do you want to read what I put for there? Or
Just
do
the
you wanna
summary and
go-
then-
Yeah,
close
just
it.
the summary is fine.
Okay, so the summary is Eric Street portion, we'll send a statement to Jules saying that the engineer is not responsible. Our two engineers will meet on site recording, record the meeting. There will be discussion about the materials, compactions, measurements, and technical standards. Jules will submit a new hydro plan, stating that everything is okay with the owner to pay and supply to the house when they are building. Council will close a road, exception of road remedial work to do. Mr. Gagne will have to have insurance, and Mr. Gagne will follow up with DESCON for invoice.
Yep. And that when you're ready, I mean,
As soon
that
as
you,
that part that me discuss with Descon, I got nothing to discuss with Descon, I got no rights.
Okay. We're out of that anyway, so you can scratch that, right? That's not
Yeah.
Well,
got no
or you
rights
can just
to-
say, well, get legal
Remain.
advice.
on.
just from our portion, like, yeah, you
Yeah,
won't
we're
even
not-
The
hear.
invoice,
Yeah, I don't even think you'll hear back from us on that.
No,
Like
no,
unless,
yeah.
unless
Oh,
our lawyer
okay.
says, oh, yeah, you owe it, then
Yeah.
you'll hear from us because we'll give you a check.
Yeah.
But if our lawyer's like, yeah, you have no exposure there, you probably won't even hear from us unless one of us like, but it's in camera, so you
Unless you
probably,
wanted to write a check.
yeah, I don't have $10,000. You do have 10,000?
You're holding up my dinner.
What? You should have ate before you came here.
Oh, yeah, we all had time.
Yeah.
I wore
So I
it.
could go back to work and run home for dinner.
I got a couple of pounds to live on.
Okay, so but council will follow up with a legal, Mr. Gagne's invoice to DESCON.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Then
All in
close-
favor?
No,
All right, we're not even a
We're
motion,
not
that's
there
just,
yet.
you're just closing it.
Oh, you didn't
Yeah.
get them over in a
I moved to
secondary yet.
to close.
I moved to close.
Yeah, that one was just a summary, not a motion. So now we're gonna move to close, is that okay?
Oh, okay.
All right.
okay, so moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that this meeting be adjourned at 7:06 PM.
All in favor? Carried. Meeting is
Ta-da.
adjourned and
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.